What's the most satisfying no you've ever given? Edit. Wow, this blew up. I'll try read as many as I can and upvote you all. Oh man. Okay, so I work for an anime convention. There is an incredible amount of drama and rumors that go around, it is insane. So this was a couple of years ago, and I happened to be waiting for an elevator with two girls who are talking about my convention's future. It's Sunday, it could be a 10 or 15-minute wait. And one of them says, "Oh my god, I am so glad convention is moving back to the Hyatt next year." We weren't. It wasn't big enough to hold us anymore. And it's always better to quash rumors before they have a chance to circulate too much. So I politely say, "Actually, it's going to be here again." I get these obnoxious, "No, it all looks" from both of them. One of them goes, "No, it's not, I heard it from my friend on security." Oh, so now it's a "I know someone" game. But my boss is the owner of the convention, I have held hotel contracts for the next 3 years in my hands, I know where it will be held. But I don't want to pull the "I know someone higher up than you," that's petty. So instead I say, "Why don't you email in and settle this for us? We've got the time." So she pulls out her phone, goes to our website, finds the contact page, and starts typing out an email. She hits send. A few seconds later, my phone beeps. I've got a new email. I open it, it's clearly from her. It says, "Convention is moving back to the Hyatt next year, right?" I type back, "No," and hit send. Most satisfying no by a long shot. I was working in a toxic, limiting environment, wearing more hats than a British royal, with new responsibilities popping up every day. I would never say no because I enjoyed the challenge. However, when I pointed out my value but received a paltry increase, I decided to leave. I got a job offer that would basically double my salary, delivered my resignation letter. And all hell broke loose. A group of them took me out to lunch as a sort of intervention and basically did what they did best, delivered the hard sell. "I'm integral to the business, they'll open up a career advancement path for me if I'll just hang in there, yada yada yada." Then they made their counter offer knowing full well how much my offer was for, and lowballed me. Like I couldn't do simple math and would be swayed by a fancy lunch and the romantic idea of company loyalty. It's the best we can do, just wasn't good enough. I got pulled aside by just about every single higher up over the next 2 weeks, and they all progressively sweetened the pot. I stood firm. Easiest no's of my life. I actually left that job with a sense of survivor's guilt about the people I left behind. I had a similar experience with a very large and well-respected company in R&D, let's call them Crocker and Handle. I was working a contract position and managing 3 large projects, 1 temp, and 2 interns with their individual projects. I was working 10-hour days and even fixing the pilot plant equipment when it was called for. They treated me like a rented mule and paid about the same. I decided to look elsewhere, and as soon as another position up I turned in my notice. They freaked out and started the same song and dance about sweetening the pot and offering me a full-time position. I saw guys like me enslaved by this under impossible career ceilings and noped the hell out of there. I got some salty salutation from their HR manager, something along the lines of, "You will regret this decision the rest of your life," to which I replied laughing, "No ma'am, no I will not. Today I am in a great job with amazing potentials." Thanks for triggering those memories. I used to work as a refrigeration tech and had a job at the only employer in my county. They treated me like, cutting pay and benefits, giving us the bare essentials to do our jobs and complain when it takes us longer. Then another company opened up an office and started hiring a few of us. They offered me a job as a lead tech with a bunch of benefits. These folks and I clicked and I knew we would get along. My old employer came to my house and begged me on a literal bended knee not to quit. They made this speech about how they would give me whatever I wanted. I looked this man who had treated me so bad and just said, "No, now get out of my house." However subservient someone acts towards you when you have power over them, that's exactly how they expect others to act towards them when they have power. Some of the better advice I've ever gotten. Edit. Thanks for the gold, kind strangers. Now everyone knows I expect someone to thank me if I ever give them gold. Bonus advice I received from the same person: when someone looks at you, pay attention to where their eyes are looking. Many people who turn out to be crazy or just plain off people will never look you in the eyes, they will look at your forehead instead. Edit 2, the editing. I'm learning much things about social anxiety disorders and other reasons people don't look at others in the eye. Thanks for the feedback. Clearly there are non-sinister reasons why someone doesn't look people in the eye all the time. Please be nice to those with social anxiety. Good friend of mine just recently got engaged to a guy who worked really hard to overcome similar issues. And that dude was totally worth the trouble to get to know. I was fired for refusing to work overtime hours for no extra pay. They kicked me out of the apartment provided to me and only gave me an hour to pack everything. They called the cops and had me escorted out of the building when I went in to collect my final pay stub. A week later, they sent me an email with a letter of reinstatement. I got it at 11 p.m. on a Friday night, and they demanded I come in to work the next morning at 9 a.m. I respectfully declined. Okay, I want some more backstory on this. How could they fire you on the spot like that? And did they pay your pay stub in the end, or did you never get that? Also, what job was that? Props to you though for doing what you did. I was on contract as an English teacher in South Korea. Law says everyone is on a probationary term for the first 6 months of their contract. During that time you can be fired on the spot with no notice for any reason. When the police arrived, I told them all I wanted was a pay stub and they got the school to give it to me. The school also withheld documents I needed to take care of my visa situation, so I had to take them to the labor board and file a formal complaint and get a decision. It was a pain in the because no one there spoke English, and it took 3 weeks, but in the end I got everything I needed. Glad it worked out for you, and wow, that's one hell of a scummy behavior, especially from a public institution. I'm a small-time landlord. When I was just getting into things I made some bad mistakes. The neighbor of one of my properties is a very friendly guy, and when I was doing renovations would constantly pop over to chat. Turns out his son and his girlfriend are looking for a place to live. Great. Saves me the trouble of having to hunt down a renter, I thought. I run a background check and there are some red flags, but nothing they can't plausibly explain. They spend the next several months putting me through hell. They never paid their rent on time and towards the end didn't pay up at all. They trashed the house. There was little in the way of permanent damage, but it was absolutely filthy. They ground cigarette butts into the carpet and wrote booty on the side of the tub, etched it in and went over it in nail polish. I ended up evicting them and getting a judgment against them. I figured I'd never collect and never hear from them. Fast forward 2 years. The house is empty. I just had a tenant leave and I was about to start doing turnover. My phone goes off one day. It's my former tenant. His girlfriend left him, he's back living at home and he really wants a place to stay. Not on your life. When you get out of the military, you go through TAPS. Transitions Assistance. Teaches you how to live like a civilian again. At the beginning of the week-long course, they have a reserve recruiter talk to everybody to sign up for reserve duty. I was ready to get out and move on with my life and told the recruiter I wasn't interested. He asked me if I like drinking and hanging out on the weekends cause that's what they do. I said no. He looked at me like that I am and says, well, that's different. My guy was such a pain, would not accept no for an answer. He pulled a lot of shady stuff and made me meet him 3 times before he signed off on my paperwork. But what really topped it off was when he put down a piece of paper with a bunch of boxes with writing in them, put a blank piece of paper over the writing and told me to sign and initial the empty boxes. He exploded when I pulled the document out from under the blank sheet of paper he was holding down on top of it. Edit, more details since this got noticed. He was an old sergeant major who made me clean up his office on one of the visits while he looked over my paperwork. The paper he covered and wanted me to sign turned out to be legit, just some mundane, we covered these points in our meeting sheet. I still don't understand why he covered it like that and held the paper down. Looking back on it, I should have reported him to the IG or something, but I was just happy to be done with it. This was over 5 years ago, so I doubt he is still there on FT Lewis.